Boom. Boom. Hello. Welcome. Good morning.
Or afternoon.
Afternoon, depending on
where you are.
On your lifestyle as well.
or hello, people of the. Hello, Phil.
Hello, Phil. Where's... Oh.
Some guy named Phil in the future is going to read this and be like, oh, sure. They knew it was me.
Welcome to After Anime, the show where me and my friend Andrew, this is Andrew if
this is me.
Know, talk about whatever anime show we feel like talking about, really.
We're watching
and
presently.
And currently we just finished season 3
catching up
of My Hero Academia. We watched
2 episodes.
Yeah, we're covering 2.
Yeah, we're kind
the
of
first episode was kind of just like
it was
just like, hey, it was like a prep for this episode.
Exactly.
And into next season.
Exactly.
So it was like, I don't know. What did you think?
Well, should we start with the
prep episode?
Like middle episode, the first of the 2, and then we'll get into the second one.
I guess.
'Cause I think more happened in the second one than the first one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so that one twice was that episode, right?
Yeah, twice was that episode. I thought that it was really interesting to look into his life, to see that
he's not just a random character.
He's not just a one-off villain who happens to have a quirk that the villains use. That he's an actual person. You get to see his face, and then he talks.
Which is really confusing because when you start off that episode, you're just like,
who is this guy?
Yeah.
Because we're used to just seeing him in his mask. So we finally get to see twice his face, but also
twice his face.
We get to see like why he is a villain technically. Like I feel like he's on the cusp.
Well, you get to see why he's in the situation he's in. I think he was kind of a victim of circumstance.
He's a victim of his quirk too, and I think that like he's looking down, he's people watching. He talks about like the first thing that I do is smoke a cigarette. I people watch, and one of his voice was being like, it's so like these people are so nice, they're content, they're happy with their lives the way they are, and then his other voice is like they're like, I don't know, worthless or something like that.
Yeah,
like
it's very much a Venom type of thing,
or like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely fighting within himself, and then I think the whole becoming
the original Venom,
like, Jekyll. He kind of became a victim of his quirk, and not accidentally, I think knowingly and by mistake, copying himself way too many times, and then all of the clones believe that they're the original, and then all kill each other, and then he's left scarred from the experience, literally and mentally, on the face and all that stuff. But I think that what really, for me, gave him a little bit more dimension was being able to see how he's dealing with what he's experienced. Because at the end of that whole all of his clones killing themselves, he was like, I don't know that I'm the original either.
I was like, I don't even know if I'm.
And
so that means that his quirk, it's not like Naruto Shadow Clone. It's like, no, he's making real ass people.
Well, but when they die they melt and stuff. So because of all of his trauma, he doesn't know if he's the real one, and I think that maybe he's afraid that he's not the original, and because of that, with that in mind, he also, he talked about how he was sick. And a lot of the villains and people that he's around are sick. So I think that what he's trying to do is find some semblance of community with other people who happen to be just sick or experienced stuff like him, because I don't think have you ever seen a villain who was born and he's just like, I'm going to be evil for the hell of it, why not be evil, right?
You could argue the Joker, but that would assume if you considered him being born from a vat of acid.
But originally as the Red Hood, he was going through with mobsters trying to do this job to make
what's his
money.
real name? Joker's. It starts with an N. I can't remember his name.
I don't remember.
No, it has. Yeah, no, his real name. Yeah, because that happened at the end of something where Batman actually learns the Joker's real name, and then also if you read, his first name is Jack.
Okay.
And his second name starts with like an Napier.
Napier.
That's
okay.
what it is. Yeah. It's in White Knight.
But he wasn't exclusively evil in the beginning. Like,
no, he was trying to be a comedian, and it wasn't working out. He needed money, and so he did a job, and it went bad, and he dressed up as this vigilante as the Red Hood. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so every villain that we've ever experienced has always been this sort of something bad has happened to them that caused them to go down this path. And even the Joker says all it takes is one bad day. And honestly, like that's what happened with Twice, is that he experienced something extremely traumatic that mentally and physically scarred him and caused him to be like, the only way I'm going to be able to manage what I've been through is to surround myself with other people who have also gone through stuff. Not necessarily the healthiest mindset.
It's not mindset, but it's like a solidarity thing. It's like there's like, even though they may not talk about it, or they're hostile or whatever, there's an understanding that they're there because A, B, C, X, Y, Z happened to them.
But it gives him a redeeming quality, I think.
It does.
And it just doesn't make him a face to punch.
I would love to see him like come back from it and like
somehow,
yeah. But I don't know. I think that's enough on Twice, really.
There wasn't really much else other than getting to see his face and knowing what he's gone through. But I think though that it does highlight and beg the question, like, what else what are the other things that these villains have gone through? We know that
Shigaraki is the grandson of
the previous
predecessor.
Yeah. And so something happened to him. We know, so we're starting to get to see these villains more as people than they are just, like I said, faces to punch.
Yeah.
And I think that's great of this show to do.
That's how you have a good villain. Is like I constantly use this as a thing. If you haven't seen the movie, have you seen Maleficent?
No.
Such a great way of just like it, not like understanding her, but also understanding it's like, villains become villains
for a reason.
And so it's just like, and so that's a great.
I think of Black Panther. I think of Eric Killmonger.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's the first villain that I've seen in any Marvel movie that's like, you actually have a legitimate reason why you're upset, and your values ultimately end in some negative consequences for other people.
Yeah.
But your values are
not
pretty
wrong.
They're wrong.
They're not wrong, but they're not right.
But they're not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That there's a really great moral gray area about what he's gone through and how he's taken his experience into the real world, and that's why I think that it's nice to see at least that these villains are not just one-offs, they're people.
Yeah.
So that's what this episode did, but that's about all the episode really did.
Yeah.
Other than being like, big three. Ooh.
Yeah, introduce a big three. That's like that was really it. And it also set up the beginnings of the League of Villains, League of Evil. Whatever.
Well, like introducing the new big fish or whatever.
Yeah,
but we didn't know that until this last.
Well,
episode.
They teased it earlier this week, which was after the episode on the Funimation's page about who would be playing him, who's the big bad. That he's going to be more of a part, which is really cool. Moving on to Team 7.
Yeah.
The
new Team 7.
The new Team 7.
The big three was immediately Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke. I mean, you look at their hair. The guy who looks like Sasuke, I mean, he's all moody and whatever, and he has the Sasuke hair. Then you have the Naruto-esque character, who's the #1 hero, who's proven himself, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Spiky yellow hair, and then you have the girl in the middle, who has non-normal colored hair and a attitude.
You have moody quiet boy.
Yeah, moody quiet boy.
And you have loud spiky hair yellow boy.
And then you have girl with weird hair.
Girl with weird hair. Yeah, although personality-wise, she's very much not Sakura. But
no. Oh no.
It was just very funny to see that.
The little tropey.
Dude,
yeah.
And then also whatchamacallit? I always forget his name. Grape Man.
Oh God.
Minata.
Yeah.
His just target acquired.
She wants to talk about my balls.
Sexual harassment.
You know what she meant. That was good. He will never change. I'm sure that they'll show they'll do some sort of like Shippuden thing at the end of this series, and he'll still be like a Jiraiya. He'll be an old horn dog who like. I'm sure that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, wise. Like, what do you like? I wonder if he's gonna like. I wonder if he's gonna like get like. We were talking about this last episode, but just get buff and then like he has like it almost has like really poofy curly hair, but it's like the balls like hanging down.
Like big old like ball dreads.
No. No. So I mean, it was them, just like introducing the big three.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, I mean, obviously Eraserhead knew something that with the audience and everybody else would know, because even you and I were just like, it was like, oh, all of you fight me, and we're kind of like, what, Eraserhead's like, do what you want. We're like, we're just going to
let this guy
happen.
Just fight children. Like,
yeah, essentially, like
the number one hero in school is just gonna beat up kids.
He's the year before them.
Yes.
He's 1 year above, because they're in year 2.
They're year 2 now. That's
they're
right.
Year 2 now.
That's right, because they get the provisional. Yeah.
So they're year 2 now, because they just went through summer break.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's and just like we don't know really what's going to happen, but then we go through this entire. A lot of this is set up, so there's not like too many talking points.
Yeah, they're definitely setting up for the next season.
Yeah, but like you have this fight going on, and I mean, it shows you Togato?
Already.
It's like Togato or something like
Togepi. I don't
Togepi.
remember his name.
There's so many names in this show.
It's hard to follow some of them.
We should just, you know what I really should do? I should create a roster list.
Just a little thing.
Just like post it
a
right
character board that we can have under the camera.
Yeah, no, it takes up the entire window.
That guy.
No,
Kakuka Kazuzu. Okay, there we go.
Todoroki.
Okay, there we go.
Alright, no. But no, he just goes through, he takes out all the ranged people.
Really
and
smart,
then,
yeah.
Midoriya does his Midoriya thing where he's just like, hey, like, heads up, this thing is happening, and he's kind of right about it.
Well, he was spot on about where the guy's going to. Mean, he accurately predicted where he was going to appear next.
Yeah, I mean,
which was great.
It makes sense. You pop up behind your opponent, but
that
like,
shot was cheap. He blinds him with his arm, so you can't he can't see anything.
Well, like it was like for me, I was more thinking like he's going into like for the eye. I was going, oh my god, and then you're like, oh, that's cheap.
Yeah,
it's so cheap. I
was during that fight. I was thinking he has to be able to like selectively choose what does or does not phase, just like Obito or Toby. So he's Naruto and Obito.
Nartobi.
Nartobi. Yeah.
Nartobi.
It's decided. It's Nartobi. That's his new name.
Narbito?
Yeah, Narbito.
Narbito.
But like, there was no way that his ability was just like it had to be selective somehow, and that was right. Like his quirk was really interesting, and I think we should talk about like how that affected Midoriya's mindset going into this, and how it sort of foreshadows what they need to do in the future.
Well, Midoriya's been doing a very good job so far as taking hints and leads from other people to kind of work his way around his situation.
Yeah.
As you can see, like by him using his legs, and then also like using his arms as a secondary, like as an offhand
backup
weapon.
instead of the main tool.
Yeah, and then but then no. Togato or I don't know.
T-Man.
T-Man.
Mr. No Pants.
We're going. Beady Eyes.
Yeah, Tintin on steroids. There we go.
Tintin on steroids. So Tintin on steroids, like, so his quirk basically is that he can phase through anything, but the only thing that his body has nothing that can't get air. It just has mass. At that point, I think
he exists without, like, he doesn't interfere with other it's with permanence or something like that. He doesn't interfere with anything, but because of that, he can't like breathe or see or experience sound or anything like that. So he just falls and he slips through things.
And then when he cancels his quirk,
the matter
of his body and whatever he's in rejects
him and immediately shoots him back up. So what he does is and this was what keyed me into one of the talking points I had, was he sort of points himself and knows at what distance he has to. Basically, instead of falling straight down, he jumps.
He gives himself a trajectory.
He gives himself a trajectory to launch himself. So he jumps, he goes down, and then he activates its quirk halfway through the movement, and it just goes zoop, like that, and it looks like he's warping.
So it's kind of like
it's not.
It's kind of like Underground Spider-Man.
Exactly. He's doing a weird web slinging ground teleporting thing. Anyway, the point is like he has found a way
around
his quirk's weaknesses.
Yes.
And that's something that everyone in Class 1A has not figured out yet.
Yeah.
Is that...
Except for maybe Todoroki.
Well, but they've
his
all
is
been
built
like...
in.
They've all been previously thinking about, like, getting my ultimate move and figuring out what my most powerful action can be with my ability and not thinking, how can I turn my weakness into a strength?
So they've all been like trying to become glass cannons essentially.
Yeah, without having any support whatsoever. And like I'm sure that all of them ultimately will have a weakness that they just cannot find a solution for. But this showed them, and I think ultimately proves to Midoriya, that you need to start looking at your exact current weaknesses and try to find a way around them and use them as a strength. And honestly, and we talked about this a little bit before the show, but I was thinking about All Might and how his quirk. I mean, he's this skinny, thin dude who's sickly. He's damaged. He has all of these problems. But the minute he activates his quirk, automatically All Might. And I was thinking, and I said this to you, but I was thinking about how he must be using some of the All Might power, the All for One power, to make it so that his body can withstand the stuff that he has to withstand. Because Midoriya's, he's just been activating the quirk and damaging his body, but very clearly All Might was taking some of that power, I feel like, and putting it into his body so that it would be durable, so that it would counteract his weak state and make it so that he's able to take a blow from All for One. You know what I mean?
He's taking the innate strength of his ability and taking a percentage of that
and funneling
it into like a defense to which could probably be used to defend against oncoming physical attacks.
Yeah,
and then also just from harming your body.
Because you think back to like the entrance exams and Midoriya's, you know, he's strengthening his body, he's trying to build up his endurance and his strength.
Yeah,
but
training.
Even then, he still is taking a lot of damage from lesser punches.
Yeah.
And you look at All Might in his weak form, and it's like, how does that guy do the same thing that Midoriya does, even more power, and not take any damage?
Yeah.
So I think that he's taking just a little bit of his power and funneling it into something that allows for his body to be able to take that sort of damage, you know?
Yeah, it's gonna, like, you haven't seen the movie, but like when All Might was younger, he wasn't quite as big, but he still had that form. But like I guess I've never seen, like, when he was younger, I'm not sure if he was like still that like skinny person, because like every flashback we've seen of All Might has been him not as big as he was, you know, peak, but like still big. And so I'm wondering if like at that time he still had a skinny form, or if like he was just built like that at that point, or like how that kind of worked. And I'm sure we'll get there at one point.
They have talked about, I mean, he has talked about his emaciated form being the result of his organs and stuff, but it still doesn't make sense why, when he activates his quirk, he would go into that form. And so that's why I think that he's sort of mitigating
and then
that
like
issue,
and like how it kind of like steams away, like the energy is leaving his body, or like there's some sort of transfer
that
of
there
energy.
Is something that he's putting into it in order to keep it active.
So there's definitely something there, and I definitely think, I mean, I'm sure they've thought that far ahead. I'm sure they have.
This single encounter with Tintin on steroids was enough to explain that Swilton.
That sounds like he's drinking like moonshine or something.
That I think that they're trying to point out that yes, you can try to make the quirk your own, but in order to really make the quirk your own, you have to find where your weakness is,
where you're lacking,
and truly find a way to mitigate that issue and really go find a way around it using your quirk, because he does exactly that. He takes one of the worst possible quirks, which is just falling through things.
Yeah.
I mean, you're intangible, but taking that quirk and building it and creating and becoming the number one hero by having a crappy quirk. I mean, just an absolutely terrible
something
quirk.
that like because like when you look at it at face value, you're just kind of like what good is
what is that going to do?
Yeah.
And he learned to take complete and total advantage, and also like the whole like learning how to do predictions, like predicting where I'm going to end up and predicting where my enemy is, and like being able to strategize and then immediately go into it and strengthening that also allows him to beat that weakness. And I think that's what they're going to start going into. But the question for me is, are they going to do a time skip, just like they did in One Piece?
I don't know how much, because it would be so much more exciting, at least in my opinion, to not see the work study, to just like jump to the next set, and then just like to have everybody's like new moves, new defenses, new whatever, be a surprise and just
grown,
and then just do a brief, and then like do what they do classically in the show, do a brief flashback. It's like this is why this happened. All right, back.
I trained with this person. I have this relationship. I mean, they have the opportunity to do that in season 4, but I don't know. This show really likes to take its time and really develop its characters. So if they do a time skip, it might change up some of the way that what they're going for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and the thing is, like, even you haven't seen the movie, but like the movie, which is just it's kind of just like a filler, kind of. It gives a little bit of like backstory and stuff like that, which is nice, but it's just like it was still very, very entertaining. So one thing that this show does well is make the parts that are usually not entertaining, like the filler episodes, like like when like with Bleach or Naruto or anything that has a filler episode, you're just like,
can we get back to the original?
The filler episodes are relevant to either the story or the characters.
They're relevant to the development of the characters, exactly.
Or it's like, and they're also entertaining. You're not super excited, but like when you're done with it, you're like, okay, I don't feel like I necessarily wasted all of my time.
Well, you know that they're working on important episodes that are coming up. Like you can still get the sense that this is a filler episode. Yeah. Not this episode particularly, it's the season ending, but you can tell when it's a filler episode in this show, but it doesn't. They still put something in the episode that later on will have value in other episodes. So the fillers are not wasted fillers. They just happen to be a filler episode until we get to important plot points.
Yeah.
And I think that if they don't do... I'm fine if they don't do a time skip, because I think that the way that they show progression and growth for these characters is actually really good. I mean, we talked about it in the last episode about how, like, when he first starts, Midoriya is this weak little whatever, and now he's like he's buff. He's got some muscle. He's got like you see the actual development and advancement. So if they do a time skip, it means that they really have to show how he's physically and personally grown as a person in that first episode. If they don't do a time skip, it's going to be really important that through this whole process they show, like, think about how Naruto learned the Rasengan. How long that took for us to...
so much time.
They spent a little too much time on that, but the development of an understanding of, like, why this is happening the way it is and how to master it. And then in the end, they're like, he did that way faster than most people.
Yeah.
And you're like, that gives it value. You know what I mean? And credibility to his character. So if they do something like that, where they take a long time developing however Midoriya is going to counteract his weaknesses, they really do need to spend some time on both his character and showing, like, the process of how he learns to do that, which the show is totally capable of. But I would like to see a time skip. I think it would be a lot more fun to just be like, skip some time and say, oh wow, like, these guys really have improved significantly, and then here and there tell them a little bit of a story of why they are where they are.
Yeah, man. That's a lot.
It is. That was a rant.
No, it's good. It's good. It's just like, no, please. But the one thing that, like, on a much lighter note, not as heavy, is whatchamacallit, the girl just going up and you're like, oh, to Todoroki is like, oh, how'd you get that burn? And I'm sitting there going, Well, you just can't do that. It's a very traumatizing experience for him.
So how did you end up that way? Please don't bring that up.
My dad hates me. Or loves me?
Loves me a lot, that he wanted everybody to know that I was his kid. I don't know.
Just like, oh man, no, that oh, that was great. And then Sir. Who the fuck is Sir?
Who is Sir?
I mean, I think we met him briefly.
We know who Sir. We know what Sir looks like. We have an idea that he's like in charge of something and that he's very watchful. But he was All Might's sidekick.
Wait, are they talking about Sir, or are they talking about David? David, he was in the movie when he was like the tech guy who developed all of All Might's suits and stuff like that. That was in when All Might did like a stint in California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is well, they didn't necessarily state that Sir was his sidekick, but they mentioned that because Sir was Tintin on steroids, work study.
Yeah, that's what they didn't say it, but I'm assuming.
But the assumption is that but the thing is if you think about the movie, if it is somewhat separate, perhaps Sir is one of the many sidekicks. Just like how Batman has had a bajillion Robins. They have all been Robin, but they're all different people. Mm-hmm. So perhaps that is one of his primary sidekicks who did train Tintin. We're gonna have to call him for now until we get that name.
So no, it'll be very interesting. I mean, I'm sure next episode we'll find out who Midoriya's work study is, whether it's the beginning of the work study or the end of the work study. Mm-hmm. And then the cliffhanger, just like they did. I would say this is almost like is there such a thing as a satisfying cliffhanger?
Yeah, no, it was actually I was satisfied. I'm
like I didn't want to throw the remote or like knock over the TV. Like, it's like now I have to wait 6 months or
it was like okay, I can definitely I'm ready to see the next season, but I'm not just like on the edge of my seat, like please. It's just like I am ready to watch the next season because I know they're setting up some really great stuff. They do what you gotta do.
They gave us enough,
but not like I mean, look at Game of Thrones. The end of last season, it was like
Jon Snow and Daenerys
just about to. But I'm talking about the dragons and them going through the wall and all. But you understand what I mean? Like this felt like it was like this is the end of the season. We know that it's going into we're gonna experience the next season. I am willing to wait.
Yes.
For a little bit to actually see how this progresses, not just like. What's gonna happen? Like it wasn't so shocking that it
wasn't like they didn't just it wasn't like and flash the big bag. No, they brought the next big bad in. Have a little bit of what's going on.
Teased him without being like, yeah, this guy does some really bad stuff. Yeah. At the end of the episode, then you're like, what's gonna happen next? It was just like, here's the big bad. Get ready for next season.
Yeah, get ready for next season. He's being introduced. He's working with Shigaraki.
And Sir called him a big fish.
Yeah.
Or was it Sir? Or was it somebody else?
I think it was Shigaraki.
Yeah, no, Shigaraki was like, oh, twice, you're bringing in a big fish. You can't, like, he's apparently known enough in the community of villains.
I mean, obviously, you have All For One as the top, but, like, I'm assuming there's, like, other ones. Like, he has to be at least on par with Shigaraki.
It's almost like having a number one hero and a number two villain. It's a number two villain. Or, I'm sure that there's tiers of villains as there are tiers of heroes. There has to be.
Yeah.
But that was solid. And also how on the Midoriya end of things, you definitely see him being like, yeah, I screwed up in the like nobody picked me up in the exams. Mm-hmm. I know I'm a failure. That's why I want to work hard to become somebody that people want to support.
And he's doing what everyone else in LA does: is email and make phone calls to people trying to get opportunities.
Exactly. And then one old grumpy guy is going to be like, no, go talk to that guy. And that happens to be the contact that works out for you.
That's how that works.
So My Hero Academia is actually the story of how you make it in Hollywood. Yeah, basically what we decided.
Oh my god.
Lord.
So let's like if you guys have any questions for us or about the episode or our thoughts, what would your quirk be?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Like my initial thought is mind reading.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to read people's minds because I think that I could take advantage. Like the way I see it is almost like how in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movie, where he predicts everything that somebody's going to do and then acts upon them. I think I could do something like that. But the problem with that is that I don't have enough protection. Like I don't have an
So would
offensive
you say that's
ability.
something you have to work around with your quirk?
Yes, but the problem is like I can't really work around being shot by a giant fireball.
This is true.
You know what I mean?
This is true.
I personally would want I wouldn't want to be able to stop time. I would want to be able to I would want to be able to manipulate time for objects.
Oh. So like spatial, like.
So like I could choose to. The way I was thinking about it is like I could speed myself up, I could slow things down, right? Those would be like the basic things, but I could also be able to. Like the quirk would have to be touch activated, I think, to make it fair.
To make it fair, yeah. Or maybe it's like you have a range, like within like 50 feet or something. I don't know.
But I'm thinking of how like I could touch someone, and depending on how I interacted with them, how long I interacted with them, I could like age them. Or I could slow them down, or I could I could pick up a rock. I could throw it.
Live for like really, really, really long time.
Well, I could slow down my metabolism if I really wanted to focus on it. But what I'm saying is like focused, specific time manipulation within things that I can touch. I think it would be a fun quirk. It would be a fair version of time manipulation, just because I don't like being able to just be like everything's frozen and I could just easily kill I could kill All Might if I just freeze time. You know what I mean? But you understand what I mean? Like
as soon as he hits you, you're like game over, bitch.
Or the minute I see him, I'm just like, and like I just freeze time. And once I unfreeze time, like he's just cut into a million pieces, and it's like that's not a fair quirk. But I think a fair quirk would be able to manipulate the time frame of objects, or at least the way in which they interact within time and space. So like I could pick up a rock, I could throw that rock and speed up its time so that it is like shooting like a bullet. You know what I mean? Like
that'd be sick.
I don't know if that would be manipulating kinetics or how that would be, but something like that I think would be a really fun quirk for me. Like if I wanted to, I could touch these headphones and force them to deteriorate, like force them to go through a time scale, like a long period of erosion,
where they don't work anymore. Thanks for breaking my headphones.
You're welcome.
Dick.
Get some new ones. They weren't cool enough. If you think about like the ability that I'm talking about time dilation or time manipulation, even within that, there's a great deal of risk for myself, because if like I slow down my metabolism, how are the other functions of my body going to work within that process? Like I have to be very smart about how if I slow myself down or I slow if I speed myself up, that means my body's going to speed up, which means my process is going to speed up. I'll age faster. So I have to limit myself on how I use that, because I can't go back in time. I can only manipulate time forward.
Yeah. Have you seen you've seen Fate Zero, right?
Yeah.
It's like Kitome Emiya.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like where he he adjusts time, and then you can see like his heart can only take so much of slowing down time. Yeah. Because his body has to be able to function to do stuff. That's. So I would try to avoid using it on myself as much as possible, and only use it to like keep myself. I could be 80 and still look like I am presently, but it's because I've figured out exactly what I need to keep myself preserved. But at a certain point, like
obviously,
a good burger from McDonald's.
But at a certain point, like I think that there's a huge amount of risk involved in, and that's why I said that the quirk has to be activated specifically through touch. You know what I mean? Because otherwise I'm just like, and everyone's
I don't know.
done.
I kind of want a coffee related quirk. Like if I like I do something really cool if I have caffeine.
Instant coffee.
Dude, oh my god. That's the quirk I want. I want to open up a chain of coffee stores, and it's like
where you're just like, coffee from me,
coffee for you from me,
and it's the best coffee.
It's the best
no
fucking coffee.
Had
and then like let's
caffeine.
say like if I eat a shit ton of chocolate, it's like a mocha.
You can manipulate the flavor of the coffee by what you consume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Just like, and then like eat a bunch of salted caramel.
Pumpkin spice.
Just a bunch of pumpkin and cinnamon.
You're just.
It's fall, bitch.
You would be a very rich hero.
You know what? And then also,
you'd be the hero of everyone's morning.
I would be the hero of everyone's
morning man. There you go. There's your name. Morning man.
Just 2 M's with a sun in the background coming up over the top of it.
Your intro is just you standing in front of the rising sun, just like, here I am.
and it's like it's in the rising sun, and then like it looks like there's a cape flapping behind, but as the sun comes up more, reveals more sunlight. It's really just me with my apron hanging over my back.
There we go.
That's it.
We got. Not necessarily great at fighting crime. It just helps other people fight crime, right? You can scald people with coffee.
I am the best sidekick.
Exactly.
The best sidekick.
Anytime that they need coffee, you don't even have to go to any coffee shop. You can just be like, here. Fill up a mug, and they're like,
just my hands.
You are the most desired.
Just like
the most desired sidekick. Of all of the sidekicks, like every single one of them wants you.
That's it.
And you get to choose who you want to work with.
It's just like, well, here's a list of things that I need before I can start.
I need a house, like a mansion to live in.
And it needs to be fully staffed.
Fully staffed.
I need at least 4 cars. At least.
You get to make the demands because you are...
I am in demand.
In demand.
But yes, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for coming in and out. Please let us know in the comments or via our social medias, which are
Andrew
Ibach at
Andrew Ibach
yep.
on Instagram.
On literally everything.
Yeah.
And then mine is at the Dan Rudd on literally everything. So be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Hit that follow button on Twitch.
Let us know your quirk.
Let us know your quirk, yes.
What its weakness is and how you would manage that weakness.
My weakness is that if I don't have coffee, I die.
So if you don't drink coffee...
If I don't drink coffee, I go into a
But
coma.
it can't be your own coffee.
Oh, fuck. That's bad. That's bad.
Let us know what
Or maybe my weakness is that I can never have coffee.
Yes, so you're always tired. You're always making coffee, but you can't ever drink it.
Okay, we got it. Yes,
So
but
you need to know their quirks, and also recommendations for the next show we should watch.
yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you. Hopefully next week.
Hopefully next week with a new show.
Week.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do like a movie review, an anime movie review.
We could.
That'd be sick.
We could watch something, definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe a classic or a weird
Endless Waltz.
Endless Waltz.
Gundam Wing Endless Waltz. Okay, we're going. All right.
Nowhere.
Bye.
Bye.